It appears that we may be live at this point in time.
Absolutely. You're listening to GWP Live, and yes, we are. Tonight is March 4th, 2026. I'm your host, Isaac Hedges, joined once again by co host Jacob Fulmer. Apologies for the rocky start, folks. Any of you out there who may be listening, as you might have noticed, this is, of course, a test recording. We are testing some systems, preparing for different things, again, in the event of live weather updates. And again, it would appear that we've got some interesting weather cycles headed our way. So, Jake, what exactly are we looking at here?
So again, this is just one final test run that we're doing. We're just making sure that all of our equipment works and that just we have everything, all systems are a go, because we are expecting to do our first actual live stream for a real severe weather event this coming Friday. As you may have saw in a recent GWP weather update that I released earlier this evening, we do have this right here, which is an enhanced risk put out by the Storm Prediction Center. This is kind of like our general guideline that we go off of. Anytime there's an enhanced risk for severe weather or higher, then we're usually going to be doing these live streams. Otherwise, we'll just have like short little weather updates like I've been doing the last couple of days. So that's kind of, I guess, if you want to call them guidelines for what we look at when it comes to severe weather. So of course, we're not really here live for really more. Again, the main purpose is we're live streaming for test purposes. So we're going to almost start this over as if we didn't even talk about all of this, as if it were a real live stream. Okay, so we're going to start this over. We're not going to start the live stream over. We're just going to start over our coverage as if this is the first time that you have seen us. So we're going to begin that in the next 10 seconds.
You're listening to GWP Live. Today is March 4th, 2026, on a Wednesday. I'm your host, Isaac Hedges, joined once again by co host Jacob Fulmer. We are tracking a weather cycle headed our way. Again, something looking a little bit severe. So, Jake, what exactly are we looking at headed our way in the week ahead?
Yeah, so we've got some ongoing active weather alerts. So we're breaking in here. It is at the top of the hour, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 a.m. I guess, or 4 o'clock on a universal time scale. And so we've got ongoing severe thunderstorm watches across southern Missouri, northern Arkansas, and across the Red River Valley. And so those go in effect until 11 o'clock tonight. So we've got another hour, and we do have some active severe thunderstorm alerts at this point in time, including a severe thunderstorm warning that is from the National Weather Service here in Springfield. And so we've got this warning going until 10:15 for the risk. And so we've got that risk for some large hail, as we mentioned, looking at the possibility of quarter-size hail. The severe thunderstorm warning is in effect, including places like Kimberling City, and that goes until 10:15 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you are in this area, please be prepared for the possibility of vehicle damage from some of the hail that we're going to be experiencing from this storm. That's going to continue to move further towards the east. So those are some of the active alerts that we have. We've also got some additional thunderstorms just to the southwest here of Jefferson City, across the Lake of the Ozarks area, a few showers moving through the Joplin area as well, and then some heavier storms across northwestern Arkansas. So that's a look at our live radar. Of course, today, this is the severe weather risk from the Storm Prediction Center showing that outlook for today, a slight risk for severe weather going from northern Texas through southern Illinois. Our tornado risk is a little bit higher across northern Arkansas and southern Missouri, but overall it's pretty low. Any tornadic activity that we do see would likely just be brief, quick, weak tornadoes. That's what we're looking at for today. As far as that wind threat, you'll notice that we have that possibility from northern Texas all the way through southern Illinois. So we do have that risk south of Interstate 44. The hail risk is also outlined across a similar area. So that's what we're currently looking at this point in time. As of right now, we don't have any new reports of any damage. We don't have any confirmation that we do have some of that large hail. So this is all radar indicated at this point in time. So we would continue this in the event of a real live stream. And once we had updated you on anything that you needed to know about, if there hadn't been any big changes, then we would go ahead and kind of end the live stream, and then we would come back anytime that we needed to for another update, is what would happen in the event of a real live stream, as again, this is a test run.
Absolutely, Jake. Well, thanks again for the update. As you mentioned, of course, this is a test run of our live alert systems for the event of severe weather. That said, of course, the weather that we've been covering here is the actual weather, again, in terms of the predictions, the different coverage that we've given here. So, still, some of that large hail expected till around 10:15. So, we want to watch out for that. Again, it hasn't been cited quite yet, but still is a radar indicated risk. So I want to watch out for that again, and the possibility of large hail that can cause damage to vehicles and different things like that. So, again, if possible, you want to find a garage, get your vehicles into. Again, avoid that hail damage, different things like that. And naturally, when it's hailing, if you can help it, you don't want to be outside during that. But again, not a whole lot beyond that, not the most severe of weather conditions, hence why we are only testing things tonight. Jake?
Yes, but of course, the risk that we did mention is real, but we're just continuing to do these test runs here. We just had a new update that came in. That severe thunderstorm warning has been dropped as the storm has now gone below severe limits. It certainly is possible that we're getting some smaller hail across the region, but at this point in time, severe hail is unlikely, and so that's why that severe thunderstorm warning actually expired a little bit before 10:15, like it was originally supposed to. And you'll notice here, so this is where it was. So it was a lot stronger earlier when it was around the Emerald Beach area at about 9:30. And so you'll notice how then that severe thunderstorm warning, it looks like around, let's back this up just a little bit. I would say it was probably producing some quarter-sized hail around 9:34. That looks like we've got some white coming in on the radar, so that indicates that's probably when it was at its strongest point, that particular storm here. And then you'll notice that it's just kind of slowly weakened over the last 10 to 15 minutes, and then now it's weakened quite a bit, and so that is why that warning has expired, so the severe hail risk has been dropped across that region.
Absolutely. So, moments ago, we mentioned that severe hail risk now has been dropped. So, not to fret. Again, just around the 9 o'clock hour, of course, we saw a little bit of that quarter sized hail, but not much more than that. Again, and that was in a fairly isolated area, so not a huge threat at this point. So, again, in terms of that previous radar indicated threat, and again, the warnings, the precautions associated with it in terms of possibility of vehicle damage and different things like that. Again, that threat has largely, again, run its course. Again, hasn't been nearly up to what it was predicted. So, we're fortunate on that front. Jake?
Yes, and we just got a couple of new reports that came in from Eagle Rock, Missouri, and Berry County at 9:13 p.m. There was a report of some quarter-size hail. There was also a social media report at approximately we had around 9:20 p.m. northwest of Bella Vista in Benton County, Arkansas. So this storm does have a history of producing some quarter-size hail, and then we also had some hail around quarter to half dollar size hail that was earlier this morning in Greene County, Missouri, around the Springfield area. So that was about, it appears that that was anywhere from about 7 to 8 or 9 o'clock is when that took place earlier today.
Absolutely. So great information there. Recent sighting of this storm pattern there in Bella Vista, Arkansas. Again, pattern common with this storm cycle, as you mentioned, as we've been talking about here, is that large, roughly quarter-sized hail, and we have seen a little bit of it in the region, as you mentioned, in the 9 o'clock hour, though not a whole lot beyond that. So again, there was a reason that it was predicted, of course, with this storm cycle. There was a reasonable expectation of it, but again, didn't end up quite living up to the expectation in terms of the hail that we actually got. But again, better safe than sorry. So, again, as we mentioned just moments ago, that alert in terms of that large hail that was expected has now been dropped. It's now expired. So, again, no more of that expected. We saw very little of it. So, in terms of those damages you might have been expecting to cars and different things that that large hail can cause, again, that's not a real concern at this point, thankfully. Jake?
Yeah, so this was at 9:26. The report came out around 9:13, 9:14, and it was around here. So in this area is where we had some of that hail. This was kind of that track of the hailstorm. And then I mentioned that there was also a report around Bella Vista. So that was from this storm. So those were actually two different storms. The one that affected Berry County was over here, just to the west of Table Rock Lake, about an hour ago. And then also about an hour ago, there was some report of some hail in Bella Vista of around quarter size hail, but that was about an hour ago. And so both of those storms you'll notice have now weakened quite a bit the last couple of minutes here. The last really 15 to 20 minutes, they've started weakening.
Absolutely. Important distinction to make there, Jake, which I failed to mention previously. Of course, one of those sightings we mentioned actually in Berry County, separate again, albeit though another one beginning in B, which apparently I previously mixed up. Another one of those sightings in Bella Vista, Arkansas. So beyond that, not a great deal of damage in terms of what was expected in terms of that hail. So not a great deal. Appears to have largely run its course. So thankfully, Jake, anything else we ought to know about this weather cycle, about this storm cycle? What can we expect to see next?
Yeah, so again, we've had some quarter-size hail in southern Missouri, but the worst of the hail has been across the Red River Valley in northern Texas, where we do have currently a storm that has been issued west of Denton, Texas. This goes till 10:30. Some half-dollar size hail is going to be possible out of that. There was some reports of 2-inch hail just across northern Texas earlier this evening. We also had some reports of golf ball to 2-inch size hail. So some heavier, or I guess some bigger hailstones recorded further to our south. But again, luckily none of that has been experienced here across Missouri.
Absolutely. So, very fortunate Missouri's been able to get away without a great deal of damage, without a great deal of precipitation on that front. Of course, you mentioned there was a little bit of that predicted. We had a little bit of a warning as to the hail that was expected, some large, roughly quarter-sized hail, but again, not a great deal of that. A little bit of a sighting in the 9 o'clock hour, but not much beyond that for the folks that are just tuning in. We are, of course, covering an ongoing weather cycle across our listening area, across the state of Missouri, and some of our listening area here affecting different parts of sort of the four-state area. Again, we saw a sighting of this storm where there was a little bit of that hail in Bella Vista, Arkansas. I saw another one in Berry County here in Missouri, but not a lot beyond that. And that warning that was previously in effect, or that alert about that large hail that was expected here, again, wasn't in effect for the longest, and it has now expired. Originally, it was set to expire at roughly 10:15, ended up expiring a little bit earlier because, again, that it just did not live up to its expectation. Thankfully for the folks who have their cars outside who were concerned about getting some dents in their cars, some of that damage and different things were being outside during that time. So fortunately, we were able to get away in this case without a great deal of that large hail that we might have received. Jake.
Yes, and again, the threat for tonight is mainly south of Interstate 44, so not really across our viewing area. This is more of just a test run, and so we're doing severe weather coverage of another area just for that reason. But again, here's where that severe weather risk is for tonight. Of course, as we mentioned, tomorrow there's going to be a risk across Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. But the big day here across Missouri is going to be on Friday, where we do have that enhanced risk for severe weather along Interstate 49 and going into central Kansas. That does include Kansas City, Joplin, Nevada is included in there as well, Wichita and Oklahoma City, and even down to the Texas-Oklahoma border. And then even that slight risk, 2 out of 5 on that severe weather scale from the Storm Prediction Center for Friday's outlook. We've even got that for Springfield, Missouri, Springfield, Illinois, over to Chicago, and then down through central Texas, and then even a slight risk going all the way as far north as Michigan. But again, we'll keep you updated And likely, again, we will be doing multiple live streams Friday afternoon and evening, just keeping you updated on that severe weather, especially if there is a severe storm that moves through Joplin, Nevada, or Columbia. Then we would definitely do either a live stream, or if we're not able to live stream for whatever reason, whether it's technical difficulties, scheduling conflicts, then we will be posting updates through the post in YouTube. So you can check out those posts and we'll keep you updated through there when we're not able to. And then, of course, as always, you can also tune into your local news station, or you can listen to a weather radio, or you can have your phone set to alerts as well. And then, of course, you've got tornado sirens if you're outside. So all sorts of ways to get alerts of severe weather. And then you can tune into here to get more information about that once you get notified of that risk.
Absolutely. You'll want to stay tuned for that coverage here on GWP Live throughout the remainder of your week. Again, something you can expect when we've got severe weather in the area that's going to affect Jake, as you mentioned. Again, this, of course, being a test for our systems, not necessarily immediately affecting our most close listening area. Again, that said, that naturally is an estimation. So wherever you might be listening to us, well, we certainly appreciate the support, and you happen to be in an area that's, again, just outside of our general radius that we cover. Again, somewhere beyond that, or you have some clarifying questions about the coverage that we are giving for the areas, how it's going to affect you, well, again, in the next few days, as we're doing these live streams on the weather, if you've got any questions on that, well, you can always call in during the live stream. We can get you on the air and answer those questions. It's a great opportunity to get in touch with GWP. So you can call in. The number to do that is 417-448-0819 to have all your weather and questions regardless answered. Again, that number is 417-448-0819. And this, of course, being a test severe weather live stream, so not a lot of severe weather immediately affecting our closest listening area here. So again, the extent of that we've covered about to the fullest degree as one might, Jake, unless there's anything that you might add.
Yes, I will add just one brief note, just kind of as a reminder. Stay prepared for Friday, and also remember that Friday morning we will be releasing our severe weather preparedness video, and it'll just explain just some differences, some common misconceptions, some common myths about severe weather, and so just kind of getting maybe some clarifying questions that you may have ahead of that severe weather. So we're going to be releasing that video during the morning on Friday, and then we'll have the live streams in the afternoon and evening on an as needed basis. But again, just as kind of a heads up, it's going to be western Missouri, including Joplin and Nevada, with the slightly higher risk, and then a little bit of a less risk across Columbia, particularly during the afternoon and evening. And I believe that's it for tonight.